So you're lying next to the person you love, and instead of reaching for them, you're reaching for your phone. Totally normal, totally human, and yes, totally fixable. If your desire in a long-term relationship feels different now than it did at the beginning, you're not broken. You're in a new season, and today we're going to talk about why that matters and what you can do about it. Hey there, I'm Lauren Consul. I'm a licensed psychotherapist and a certified sex therapist who is here to help you create more satisfying and secure sex and relationships, especially when things feel flat. And if desire's been taking a backseat lately, you're in the right place. In long-term relationship, desire waxes and wanes. It shifts with stress, routine, sleep, caregiving, grief, you name it. But instead of panicking about what's not happening, pause and ask, what season of life am I in right now? What's going on emotionally or logistically that might be impacting my connection to sex? This isn't about ignoring low desire. It's about understanding its context with curiosity, not judgment. Context is also key. Emily Nagoski uses the metaphor of tickling. In the right context, playful and safe, tickling is fun, but in the wrong one, it's annoying and even invasive. And it's the same with sex. If you're trying to connect sexually after a chaotic day, no downtime, dishes still in the sink, and zero emotional connection, your body's probably not going to say, yeah, now's the moment. But what if it's a Saturday morning, you've slept, you're relaxed, the playlist is vibing, it's a totally different context with the same partner or partners. Zooming out even more, if you're in burnout, grief, or caretaking mode, that's going to impact how your body shows up. And that's not dysfunction, that's human physiology. Another important concept to understand in long-term relationships is the difference between spontaneous and responsive desire. Spontaneous desire is the kind that shows up out of nowhere. And this is the one that gets all the hype and gets put on a pedestal. But there's also responsive desire, and this is the kind that shows up once pleasure begins. It's way more common, especially in long-term relationships. But both types of desire are real and valid because desire is desire. And a lot of times people will say, well, when we first started dating, it was so spontaneous all the time. But was it really? You were probably doing a lot of build-up and having responsive desire to things like texting, flirting, grooming, planning, fantasizing. It wasn't necessarily spontaneous. That was responsive desire in a curated context. You weren't necessarily more sexual back then. You were just also more resourced, probably. It's also important to understand love versus desire. And here's an Esther Perel gem that I love around this, where she says, love enjoys knowing everything about you. Desire needs a little mystery. And we often confuse love and desire, but they live in different emotional spaces. Love generally thrives on closeness and safety and security, and desire needs just enough distance to stay curious. And a secure relationship needs both safety and novelty, predictability and surprise. If everything is merged, desire fizzles. If everything is separate, love suffers. So the goal is tension in balance. We've talked about the theory. Let's talk about strategy and 4 ways to reconnect with desire in a long-term relationship. Number 1, curate your context. Identify what turns you and your partner on and what shuts you down emotionally, physically, sexually, logistically. And don't just wait for desire to show up. Use these lists to create conditions where it can show up. Number 2, flirt with distance. Give yourselves room to miss each other. You might have to do errands separately or meet at the restaurant instead of riding together. Get dressed in different rooms. Desire often lives in the space between you and me, so you want to create a little bit of that space. Again, that tension and balance, really thinking about how do we integrate that into our relationship. Number 3, get to the core. Ask yourselves, what does sex mean to me? What purpose does it serve in our relationship? Is it connection, exploration, acceptance? Once you know your why, you can find creative ways to meet those needs, even when sex itself isn't necessarily on the table. Number 4, expand your menu. If sex always has to be candlelit, hours long, and mind-blowing, it probably won't happen very often. Lazy sex, mutual masturbation, listening to a spicy podcast, these can all count on your menu if you have an expanded menu. More options equals more chances to connect. So if desire feels distant, don't panic. Instead, get curious. Your body isn't broken. Your relationship isn't doomed. You're just human in a very real season of life. I'd love for you to leave a comment and tell me what is one thing that helps you feel more connected to your own desire in a long-term relationship. Let's have these conversations openly and honestly so we can feel less alone in these things that we experience as humans. And if you found this helpful, hit like and subscribe. There is much more where this came from.